Welcome to our session on how to strengthen your cyber resilience with Rubrik, Microsoft, and generative AI. My name is 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗍, and I run go-to-market operations for Rubrik's Microsoft and SaaS data protection business. I'm based out of Texas in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and over the past 2 years, I've been so busy meeting with IT and security professionals like you all here today that last month was the first time I ever visited Rubrik's headquarters in Palo Alto, California. Remote work has really changed my life, and I love being able to help Microsoft customers wherever they are and still stay connected to all the great minds at Rubrik across the globe. I'm also lucky enough to have with me here today Dr. Tyrone Grandison, Chief Technology Officer for Microsoft. Ty has so many different fun facts that we were actually forced to choose just one to appear on screen, that his garage is a karaoke studio. But just so you know, Ty is also a shoe designer and a trained salsa dancer. And on the business front, not only is Ty a senior executive, he's also a technologist, computer science researcher, entrepreneur, data scientist, keynote speaker, coach, and a software engineer. So you're in for a real treat having him here. We also have with us Martin Walter, who you'll be hearing from in the second half of this session. We were thrilled to snag Martin from this session because of his 20 years of experience in the security industry. Martin's not only a VP, but an innovative and creative problem solver, always questioning the status quo and pushing the boundaries of what is thought to be impossible. This is probably why he's been behind multiple industry-first innovations, company innovation awards, and patents. And for you all in the audience today, Martin's customer-first attitude has him completely focused on addressing the kind of security problems companies are facing in the world today. Now, in my career, I have over 15 years of experience with the Microsoft partner ecosystem. I've partnered with some of the largest organizations in the world to help them adopt Microsoft cloud technologies at an enterprise level. And Rubrik's partnership with Microsoft is one of the reasons I've become so invested in our go-to-market operations with Microsoft. And if this is the first time you're hearing about Rubrik, well, let me give you some super high-level descriptions of who we are. Basically, Rubrik is a market-leading data security company dedicated to helping customers keep their data both resilient and available. And today, you'll not only leave here understanding how Rubrik can help you secure your data as a Microsoft customer, but also how Rubrik has helped customers just like you recover their data when they need it. We have some great customer stories, plus new exciting partnership and product announcements coming up. So throughout the session, shoot us any questions you have, and we'll do our best to answer them in the chat as we go along. But for now, stick with us as we first talk about why our customers across a variety of verticals all have one thing that's top of mind for protecting their data: cyber attacks. According to one of our own Zero Lab State of Data Security research reports, 99% of IT and security leaders were made aware of at least one attack on their organization in 2022. And that comes from interviews with more than 1,600 global IT and security leaders, half of which are CIOs and CISOs. On average, leaders dealt with attacks 52 times in 2022, leaving 96% of IT and security leaders concerned they'll be unable to maintain business continuity in an attack. It's a topic that's really pressing for leadership. Even almost 40% of respondents in our research believe their board has little to no confidence in their ability to recover critical data and business applications in an attack. Almost 3/4 of respondents reported their organization is likely to consider paying a ransom, and half are very likely to pay the ransom. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's what we have Microsoft tools in place for, to prepare us for this kind of thing. But from working with Microsoft, we know that when thinking about protecting data, top-notch data management is the focus. And since this diagram is taken straight from Microsoft documentation, let me bring in Ty from Microsoft to explain the thinking here. Ty, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Eddie. Happy to be here. So with Microsoft, protection is across 4 different categories, all having to do with legal and regulatory standards. The first step is knowing your data and the different levels of protection that you need. The second step is protecting it, making sure it's fully encrypted and restricting access. Step 3, preventing data loss, which includes oversharing and making sure that you don't see behavior that you don't expect to see. And finally, governing your data. Retain what you need, delete what you don't. And this is important because if the data is not in your environment, then it can be compromised.
So true, Ty, thank you. But then for the data that is in your environment, the question becomes, is that data recoverable in a cyber attack? You're dealing with growing data, evolving tools for remote work and mobility, and you collect, store, share, and have to manage more data than ever before. especially as you may be working to move more data from the data center to the cloud. But you can restore it fast in that kind of scenario, right? And that becomes iffy when you're thinking about legacy backup solutions you have in place. You have to balance the need to share information while minimizing cyber risk. And legacy backup systems can be complex, requiring significant management time from dedicated teams, as well as a high total cost of ownership. Lengthy backup and recovery times also compromise data availability, number one. But number two, a lack of proper security also leaves your data vulnerable to ransomware and other attacks, making it difficult to not only meet compliance regulations, but also prove to your board or cyber insurance providers that you're resilient. So how does this all play out in an actual attack? Well, in a cyber attack scenario, new questions arise for your teams. What was the scope of the attack? What data and applications were impacted? Was any sensitive data compromised from the attack? Do I have a copy of that data to recover from? What point should I recover from to avoid reinfection? How do I remediate vulnerabilities before we recover? What steps do I need to take in order to initiate the recovery? There's a lot. The inability to successfully answer these questions is exactly where legacy backup vendors can leave organizations like yours holding the bag after a cyber attack. And successfully answering these questions is the difference between recovering within hours and potentially never being able to fully recover. It's clear a new approach is needed for cyber resiliency, one that takes into account your cyber posture, your ability to proactively mitigate data risk, as well as your cyber recovery preparedness, your ability to quickly return to business as usual within hours or days, not weeks or months. And what makes up complete cyber resiliency is the ability for your organization to withstand and quickly recover from a cyber attack. Since Rubrik inception, we've focused on delivering the most robust and seamless products that ensure fast and confident recovery. This includes anomaly detection, which uses machine learning to detect deletions, modifications, and encryptions on data to determine the scope of ransomware attacks. Sensitive data monitoring that discovers what types of sensitive data you have and where it lives, so you know if any sensitive data was compromised in an attack. Zero trust data protection that cyber-proofs your data with air-gapped, immutable, access-controlled backups, ensuring you always have an uncompromised copy of the data to recover to. Threat hunting that finds malware and other indicators of compromise and uses the time series of your data to identify the initial point and time of infection. Threat containment that allows you to quarantine the malware and prevent reinfection. And cyber recovery that allows you to clone your backups quickly into an isolated environment to continuously test your cyber playbooks, so when you have to recover, you know exactly what steps to take and what to expect. And for you as a Microsoft customer, whether it's long-term retention in the cloud, cloud-native protection in Azure, or protection for your on-prem or virtual workloads, Rubrik keeps your data secure and recoverable. We provide support for a number of Microsoft technologies, including Azure VMs and managed disks, Azure SQL and Azure SQL managed instances, Azure VM solutions, Entra ID, formerly known as Azure Active Directory, Azure Files, Azure NetApp Files, and SQL Server, and physical or virtualized Windows. I said there was a lot. We also provide modern workplace protection for Microsoft 365 for fast enterprise-scale recoverability from ransomware, corruption, or accidental deletion. So that although Microsoft 365 is a SaaS-based service where the shared responsibility model comes into play, with you as the customer being the one responsible for protecting your data, Rubrik fills that gap for you to secure against data loss. Our integration with Microsoft Sentinel even brings the power of Rubrik Security Cloud right into the Sentinel dashboard, giving insights into what to recover and what sensitive data may have been exposed. And it's all backed up by the ransomware response team available to every customer in cyber attack crisis, as well as the advice and direction of leading security experts who make up Rubrik Zero Labs, where some of the research we covered earlier today actually came from. And there's even a $10 million ransomware warranty for our eligible enterprise customers as an extra vote of confidence. And for what you're using Microsoft for today, Rubrik especially provides value in several areas I wanted to focus on that resonate with a lot of our customers in their everyday work. First is something we do with Microsoft Sentinel. By bringing Rubrik insights into Microsoft Sentinel, you can better secure your data, monitor risks, and quickly recover at scale. And for your IT and SecOps teams, they're better coordinated. They receive Rubrik insights simultaneously. And as they run through their investigation, they can quickly and confidently recover with a malware-free backup. The integration with Microsoft Sentinel helps bridge the gap between security and IT operations. It provides both groups a common view of data risks and threats, allowing you to recover quickly and confidently with malware-free backups to restore critical operations that keep your business up and running. Rubrik complements Microsoft's perimeter security, cloud security, and threat detection tools with comprehensive data security that safeguards data so it can always be available for recovery. Any alerts, deletions, incidents generated directly from Rubrik go right within the Sentinel dashboard and invoke Rubrik threat hunting and automated recovery workflows. When Rubrik detects an anomaly, an incident gets created within Sentinel, so the security team gets notified about anomalous activity. And this gets enriched with sensitive information. For example, if there's any credit card data or healthcare records, so your security teams can appropriately assess and triage. For incident response with Rubrik, you can identify and block indicators of compromise in your historical data so that you can contain infections and ensure that you're recovering to your last known clean copy. And then, of course, when it comes to recovery, we have a full set of capabilities that we expose to the responder in terms of how they want to recover it, whether it be a live mount, an export, or file recovery. You have all of these capabilities at your fingertips. And this is, again, something your teams can customize to really drive the behavior and automation you want within the platform. But don't just take my word for it. This Rubrik and Microsoft customer, St. Luke's University Health Network, has seen incredible value with the Sentinel integration, protection on Azure, and the data threat analytics and sensitive data monitoring capabilities of Rubrik Security Cloud. St. Luke's is a nonprofit organization that provides healthcare services for 80,000 plus patients and 340,000 plus ER visits every year across 14 campuses and 300 outpatient sites. Part of St. Luke's commitment to providing high-quality care for its patients is ensuring the cyber resiliency of their operations and the security of their patient data. According to their CISO here, David Finkelstein, they know that healthcare is the #1 cyber attack vector in the world. And they see that having partners like Rubrik and Microsoft dedicated to cyber resiliency makes it easy to feel safe about their data. Their senior systems engineer particularly sees the Rubrik's integration with Microsoft Sentinel a game changer. Their cyber team uses Sentinel daily to monitor for threats in their environment, and having Rubrik and Sentinel insights within a single pane of glass helps them save time and become more proactive when it comes to their security threats. Plus, for St. Luke's, by moving over from their previous legacy technology, they now have millions of files of patient records secured with Rubrik, protecting 2.5 petabytes of their data. Plus, they've seen a 73% cost savings over 3 years as they've moved to Azure with Rubrik, even migrating Epic from their on-prem data center with Rubrik support for Epic on Azure. And perhaps most importantly, St. Luke's is now in a place where they are ready to recover from cyber attacks within minutes or hours, as opposed to months. And here's one of our joint Microsoft and Rubrik customers, 𝗬𝗏𝗏, with a very interesting story I wanted to make sure to share. This is Dan Gallivan. He's the director of IT at 𝗬𝗏𝗏, an award-winning global architecture firm. 𝗬𝗏𝗏's architects have designed cutting-edge science centers to world-changing hospitals and cancer treatment facilities. For Dan, every IT leader's worst nightmare occurred one Saturday morning. Now, 𝗬𝗏𝗏 has exponential growing amounts of project data, images, photography, videos capturing the construction process, all of which need to be captured. This meant losing access to their M365 data would halt everything, their collaboration across teams, clients, and consultants, and missing deadlines. What they thought at first was a routine power disruption, they quickly realized was different. Their suspicion was that they were under attack, and that was confirmed. But with Rubrik, after being attacked on a Saturday, they were back up and running before Monday with no business impact. According to Dan, 𝗬𝗏𝗏 was very confident in their data protection with Rubrik. Rubrik made it easy to do an instant recovery and restore. With Rubrik, they were able to put things right back online. Rubrik saved them from having to pay the ransom. In fact, their team never even thought about paying it. Without Rubrik, the impact would have been catastrophic. Dollars per hour of billings, yes, but also construction deadline missed and client reputation with lost faith in their service. Dan said without Rubrik, it would have taken weeks or months to get everything back up and running. So what's behind this partnership with Microsoft to enable our customers to do things like recover from any IT or security professional's worst nightmare? With world-class support, multiple Microsoft integrations, and even recognition from Microsoft as the winner of 2023 Partner of the Year awards in the US, you could say we're in lockstep in terms of customers' data security strategies, right, Ty?
That's right, Eddie. So back in 2021, Microsoft and Rubrik announced a strategic agreement that even includes a Microsoft equity investment in Rubrik to drive go-to-market activities and co-engineering projects. It's all in an effort to deliver integrated zero-trust data protection solutions, all built in Azure.
And this partnership allows us at Rubrik to be in an incredibly favorable position in terms of an innovation and technical support interlock for customers. John Thompson, former chairman of Microsoft, sits on our board, so we're in lockstep starting at the top.
And Microsoft and Rubrik's, they go hand in hand to be better together in the sense that Rubrik has and manages hundreds of petabytes of data on Azure. We have 2,500 joint customers between us, and Rubrik has a technology in place to better secure your data in Azure and Microsoft 365.
And now we're excited to announce even more benefits to you as a customer of Microsoft when you partner with Rubrik.
The first is based on being a part of the Microsoft Copilot Partner Program. As you may be aware, Security Copilot is the first AI-enabled security product that enables security professionals to respond to threats quickly, to process signals at machine speed, and to assess risk exposure in minutes. It combines an advanced large language model, an LLM, with a security-specific model that is informed by Microsoft's unique global threat intelligence and is powered by over 65 trillion signals daily. Rubrik is officially working with our Microsoft product teams to shape Security Copilot product development several ways, including validating and refining of new and upcoming scenarios. They are providing us feedback on product development and operations to be incorporated in future releases. They're validating and providing feedback on the API to assist in the extensibility of the Security Copilot. So we at Microsoft will be working closely with Rubrik to incorporate Rubrik's data security intelligence alongside Microsoft's AI assistants across various workflows within different Microsoft applications. The second new benefit has to do with what you may have heard here at Ignite regarding partners for the new Microsoft 365 backup solution. And this is another area where we at Microsoft are working with Rubrik to enhance your cyber resilience and to speed up your cyber recovery.
That's right. As Microsoft will be coming out with its own native backup solution called Microsoft 365 Backup, Rubrik is going to deliver a new integrated solution on top of what will already benefit your joint customers.
And Microsoft will provide high-speed, point-in-time recovery for your data stored in Microsoft 365 environments so you can react and respond to the latest cybersecurity threats with confidence. And while this native Microsoft backup solution is limited to data that's only in Microsoft 365, Rubrik will extend our own solutions capabilities.
Rubrik will use Microsoft APIs to achieve the same level of recovery speed at scale that the upcoming Microsoft 365 backup solution from Microsoft will bring. But we'll also be able to provide additional recovery capabilities for Entra ID users and groups, more comprehensive protection of Microsoft Exchange, SharePoint, included coverage for Teams, and centralized management across your 365 data and other workloads, including SaaS applications like Atlassian Jira Cloud. We already have access to the Microsoft APIs and are already seeing how you can speed up your recovery operation and minimize RTOs. You can also do things like select hundreds of objects in Microsoft 365 Backup or identify 100,000 users at a time for mass recovery via groups or wildcards. So you can get either as granular as you want or recover a group of 10,000. And the value of Entra ID recovery comes into play by keeping your 365 data safe, even in the case of an Entra ID credential compromise. You can streamline Microsoft 365 recovery by automatically recreating Microsoft Entra ID objects versus doing a manual restore. This means you can restore your critical data with roles, permissions, and cross-object relationships being kept intact. And I encourage you to check out the full demo of Rubrik Data Protection for Microsoft 365 Backup. You can find it on Rubrik's Ignite Partner Showcase page. So with Rubrik and Microsoft together, you're getting the complete protection from Microsoft 365. Microsoft offers tools to help you control access to keep attackers out, compliance tools that help you schedule deletion so you don't have to keep data longer than you need to, and classification and search tools help you comply with compliance and e-discovery. And Rubrik provides cyber recovery and protection within a single pane of glass for all of your data. So the Copilot program with this integration with native Microsoft 365 Backup are just several ways we're innovating further with Microsoft. But something that's also a big topic in data security is what now we're deeply committed to alongside of Microsoft, which is generative AI. And with that, let me hand things over to Martin.
Thanks, Eddie, and thanks for having me. As an industry, and perhaps you from a customer perspective, we've been very focused on prevention as well as detection and response. However, if it's really true that we need to assume breach, we also have to think about the recovery process. Very important. Cyber recovery, or the recovery from a destructive cyber attack, has been a topic Rubrik has helped customers with for years now. So what we have been focusing on is to make recovery from an inevitable cyber attack even easier. Because remember, this is not a question of if it will happen, but when it will happen. So why is it so difficult to come back from a destructive cyber attack, and why is it so complex? And I think a lot has to do with the fact that every environment is different. And with that, we see a wide diversity in how destructive cyber attacks, such as ransomware attacks, unfold. And because every one of these attacks is somewhat specific and unique, it takes time to go through the recovery process. Now, as we all know, we don't have endless budgets, not even security. And because of that, we cannot hire our way out of the problem. And as a result, the technical expertise to recover from such a cyber attack is limited, and organizations find themselves unprepared to effectively respond to a cyber attack to get the organization back up and running quickly. Or even if there's a plan, organizations usually don't have the time and bandwidth to adapt such plans to new threats and playbooks and continue to refine them. So this is something we hear from customers every day, whether we help them with responding to a cyber attack or we help them with becoming more prepared to cyber attacks. Now, there's some interesting statistics that we found in doing our research that really highlight these facts. So first of all, 3/4 of about 300 cybersecurity and IT professionals worldwide that were interviewed said that the cybersecurity skill shortage does impact their organizations negatively. Now, that's a sharp increase from 57% of the same study last year. And what is also interesting is that nearly all of these organizations have said that the situation has not only, not become better, but even gotten worse in a lot of cases. Another interesting statistic is from Splunk, a research Splunk performed that suggests that half of the organizations they interviewed lacked the staff and the skill set, or like the teams really, to triage and respond to cyber attacks in an efficient way. And most importantly, and this is really a mind-blowing statistic if you think about it from Statista, that it takes an organization on average 22 days to recover from a ransomware attack and bring the business back into operation. Now think about that. That's 3 weeks that organizations are out of operation or with impacted operation after a cyber attack on average. So what does this all mean? It means that the complexity of cyber attacks is increasing, and the required skill set to recover from these cyber attacks is also increasing. While at the same time, as we already said, we cannot hire our way out of that problem, which really means that there's a lot of bad news for us. But there's also some good news. There's also a silver lining here, right? Because specifically with the introduction of generative AI, we now have a tool at our fingertips that really augments the skill shortage and assists the human operator with specific insights and recommendations right in the moment where it's needed the most. So today we're introducing something big, something we're really excited about. So please help me welcome Rubrik Ruby, your generative AI-powered data security companion that enables customers to perform the most complex tasks, such as cyber recovery. Ruby is a new capability which was born because Rubrik's incredibly invested in making our customers more resilient. A large part of strong cyber resilience, which we've talked about, is the ability to rapidly recover from cyber attacks so that adversaries cannot hold your business hostage anymore. And Ruby will actually help you do just that. Ruby works within the same Rubrik Security Cloud that you're used to, and its skills help you through a specific workflow while providing you all the necessary context and information right at your fingertips. Ruby's first skill is to be able to guide you and help you through the recovery process after a cyber attack, and it's built on Microsoft Azure OpenAI and has been trained on Rubrik's own knowledge and expertise. So that also means you don't have to train it, and it doesn't require your customer data to operate. But what we are sharing today is really just the beginning of a journey. Ruby will be equipped with more skills over time as a practical, ever-evolving solution to help you strengthen your cyber resilience by helping you through the most complex workflows and tasks easily. So let's talk a little bit more about Ruby. The reason why we have chosen the cyber recovery and response skill as its first capability is relatively simple. First of all, we found that many of the steps in an investigation remediation workflow can be automated. But then second, our traditional backup admin who's interacting with Rubrik Security Cloud the most is not necessarily a specialist when it comes to security operations and cybersecurity expertise. And we felt we can help our prime user in this case the most with this response workflow. So how does Ruby accelerate your cyber recovery in particular? How does it actively help customers through the recovery process? A destructive cyber attack requires the support and help from everybody in the organization. And being in the middle of such an event is not the best time to learn up about ransomware. So we have trained Ruby on our own products and on years of experience in our ransomware recovery team to develop this cyber recovery skill. So in some sense, Rubrik Ruby is your AI companion who's an expert in cyber recovery, which really empowers every Rubrik user to investigate and remediate a cyber attack in their environment. At Rubrik, we believe AI is the future of cybersecurity, and specifically by supplementing the workforce to address some of the skill shortages we just talked about. Ultimately, we want the talent we have to make better use of their time and focus on more security initiatives instead of following up on some automatable event. There was a study recently from IBM that was really interesting that said that 92% of the executives they interviewed see AI as something to complement the security workforce instead of replacing it, to really help the workforce to focus on higher value work. And all of this artificial intelligence behind Ruby is powered by Microsoft OpenAI services. We talked about what Ruby can do for you today. And keep in mind, as we already said, it's really, its skills are getting better. It's really the start of a journey for us. So the next time we speak about Ruby, you will likely see us talk about more skills that Ruby has learned in the meantime. But for now, Ruby really helps with three major things. One is streamline incident investigation workflows, for example, by automatically flagging and bringing malicious activity to the operator's attention and foster a response workflow. Second, it also makes specific recommendations on those work streams by suggesting incident response tasks and performing these together with you in the Rubrik Security Cloud. And finally, third, it accelerates the cyber recovery workflow by really helping you through the process of investigating an incident and planning that cyber recovery workflow to bring your environment back up to operation as quickly as possible. While also at the same time, and this is critical, securing and preserving the forensic evidence that your security team will need in the aftermath. And this is really just another great example of how Rubrik and Microsoft really come together to deliver much better security outcomes, data security outcomes for our customers with, first of all, world-class infrastructure and security tools, just like OpenAI we just talked about, and the data security capabilities from Rubrik for reliable cyber recovery. There was a lot that we covered today. There was a lot that we talked about today, a lot to take in. But now you really know that with Rubrik, you'll have the guaranteed ability to recover your data from reliable backup when you need to, a single management interface to see how your data is protected across all of your environments, and the ability to create a cyber recovery plan. And I can't stress this enough, test it on an ongoing basis to prove cyber resilience and to be prepared for the day off. But it also gives you better visibility and context to make more informed decisions to drive faster recovery with the help of artificial intelligence. I want to thank you so much for joining our session today. Thanks for being with us. I hope this was informative. I hope you're just as excited about these new announcements as we are. Be sure to check out our Rubrik partner page, where we have access to demos, product collateral, more information about some of the announcements we made today. Also, be sure to join us live for a technical deep dive with Rubrik and Microsoft product and security experts that's coming up. And we look forward to connecting with you and helping you and your data become cyber resilient. Thank you for being with us. This was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as we did.